I already did a video on red flags in women when you're looking to start a traditional family. And here's a more kind of like a positive approach. This is just like good signs that if you see this in a girl that you're dating, I think it's very good news in my opinion. So the first of them is if you want to start a traditional family, I think a needed condition is that the woman that you're with or the woman that you're dating wants to have children. This used to be, taken for granted. I think most people, when they get married, we expect to start a family, to have kids. But I think it bears repeating, and I think it's really important for you to kind of verify this and just ask, hey, what does your ideal kind of family looks like? Do you want to have many kids? Do you want to have a few? What's It doesn't matter what will happen in reality. It's just the intention is all that matters, in my opinion. So of course, if you want to have a traditional family with as many kids as God will give you, then you want to have a person that will match you on that level. This is a basic requirement for you to go forward. Another really good thing, really good sign is if you meet a girl who has a very low body count, if ideally a virgin, but if you meet someone that has only like one previous partner in a long term relationship, I think that's also pretty good sign compared to the average in Western countries. Another really good sign that I've seen is when you're dating a girl whose parents are still together, and you might ask like, who cares? Who cares if her parents are still together? Well, because she has this very vivid example from her life about a marriage that worked and it went really well, and what does a successful family unit looks like, and two people that care and love for each other and that raised her. So I think that's really an extremely good sign of stability, and also helps with her mental health in terms of like, if everything went well, there's no childhood traumas, there's no hangs ups or anything like that. So a lot of people that I've met that have like unresolved issues were due to some type of like daddy issues. They never met their dad and they abandoned them as a child, or the parents got divorced and then they were basically a ping pong ball back and forth with this shared custody. So I think it's quite important for the parents of your girlfriend or your future wife, to still be together. Then the next one, this is a little bit tongue in cheek, of course. The picture, not the point. I think the point is quite important, that you wanna get with a girl that is in her 20s. I think like lower than 30 years old, and the reason for this is just basic biology. In terms of fertility, if I would have $1 every time I met someone that has fertility issues, I would have about 11.50. So I really recommend you to start earlier than later, because in terms of from both sides, from the side of the woman, you see basic biology reality, like the likelihood of getting pregnant like decreases with every year of life. So if you want to have as many kids as possible, you want a woman who's in her 20s. It is like I've seen some screenshots from dating apps of some 40-something-year-old woman saying, "Babies, maybe someday," and I'm like, I don't know, it doesn't look like you have the odds there. And also then from the male side, sperm counts have decreased about 50% in the last 50 years, so that's quite concerning. And I'm surprised there's not that I know, no governmental investigations about this. Hey, what can we do to counter this trend? Is it just microplastics, or is it women taking hormonal contraceptives, or that the seeping in the water and going to the fish and then we eat it, or what's happening here? I would like to have an answer, but we probably won't. But it's just take it as a matter of fact, and as a reality that it's also, as you get older, you probably are less likely to be able to conceive. Same chart, just from a different publication. And then another aspect that I've seen of many of my past relationships were that the women that I ended up with they love crafts. They love to create like knitting, crocheting, that sort of thing. They love to knit woolly socks, which of course keeps you warm in the winter. They might knit you like this one of this beanies or even gloves, mittens, stuff like that. I really appreciate that this kind of creative outlet where they can create something from nothing. It's just by following a pattern. It's quite nice. Another aspect that I love is a woman who loves to bake and to cook. Because you don't have to be the best person at it, but just I think the attitude is quite good. We have a saying that the way to a man's heart is through the stomach, and I think this is completely true. I think there's no time I appreciate a woman more than after a nice meal. I love her. I respect her. I appreciate her. It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling to have someone that can cook, even if not perfectly. They have the right attitude to, hey, I want to learn. I want to do something well. I want to please you. I want to take care of you. That's a very nice feminine trait. Another aspect I think that gets a bit overlooked nowadays is that if you're a religious person, I think it's quite important that the person that you're with, the person that builds a family with you, is also religious. Like, and not only kind of like religion itself, but I think also like denomination. Like, if, for example, both of you are Catholic, and that's great, or both of you are Protestant or Orthodox or whatever. I think it's quite important because oftentimes I think people look at marriages in terms of the material realm, right? Of the world, of the material world. But I think if you're bond, if you're married at church in the eyes of God, then this binds you together. The bond is much more stronger, in my opinion, than just going to a civil court and signing some papers. I think this is because you want to match kind of the material reality with spiritual reality, and of course you can help each other whenever you stumble, whenever you have like spiritual crises, then you can kind of like help each other go forward. So I think something that when I've seen it in people that I know, is something that came to the back of my mind, like, hey, how come all the stable relationships that I know in marriages happen to have this characteristic, that otherwise would be overlooked. And that's pretty much it. I wish you all the best. I hope you find what you're looking for. You find a glimmer of hope and a glimmer of light in a world full of darkness. The Western world right now is, ridden with debauchery and degeneracy. So I hope you find a corner of the world that you can raise your own and take care of your kids and your wife and be happy, and ultimately just propagate the species forward and having a hopeful attitude and finding like-minded individuals that can help you build for whatever will come in the future. It doesn't matter how shitty things get or how negative stuff is in the realm of politics. I think you have to remember, what are things that I can actually change. There's this quote, the famous quote about, God grant me the serenity to know what I can change and what I cannot, and the wisdom to know the difference. I butcher the quote, but you know what I'm saying. Like, if you get frustrated, if things get really shitty, and you're in a tough spot, you need to kind of keep your head in the game, in the sense that, okay, I'm in the middle of some giant spiritual war between good and evil, and I'm a tiny little soldier in the front. There's obviously very limited effect to what you can do. Even if you would give it your all, even if you would go 100% performance, it would still very, very unlikely that you make a difference. So I think for me, it was very important when I realized, hey, I can't change the world, but that's fine. I can still make people around me have a good one, in the sense that, or help people who are lost. When you meet someone who's totally black pilled and is totally negative, and they're like a bunch of, they're into like a total doomer type of mode. It's very gloomy. Not everything is hopeless. we're all gonna eventually die, and there's no point to it all. If you see this type of nihilist type of approach, you gotta nip it in the bud, you know. And of course, there are some people that don't want to be helped, you know. Like I remember when I was a kid, there was this acquaintance that we had that every time we would hang out with him, he would just drag us all down, you know. And there's no way he would never get back up. It was just like he would drag himself down and everybody else with him. And ultimately, we had to kind of like make a choice. Like, okay, do we choose our collective sanity or keeping up with this guy that is just like doesn't know how to deal with life? Like it was just like, and I'm pretty sure from the outside it sounds kind of like douchey, but really I think some people, even if they would give them, they have a problem, you give them the perfect solution, let's say, and they still don't want to be helped. So you can only help people who are receptive to your advice, and it doesn't matter if your advice is correct or not. If they're not willing to hear you, there's not really a point. So, but yeah, I'm sure, I believe in you. I don't know who you are, Anon, but you can do it. You can do it. We've been doing it for hundreds, thousands of years on Earth, so you can do it too. You only need to find one person once. That's it. You find someone, it clicks, and you take it from there. It might work, it might not, but if many of your ancestors did it, so can you. So, you know, buckle up, buckaroo, and let's get this done. Take care of your own, and if you find someone along the path that is kind of lost, you know, lend them a helping hand and see where that takes you. All right, take care, and I'll link down below the one with the red flags in women if you're curious about that. Link in description. Take care and see you on the next one. Bye.